at the opening a few weeks ago and was entertained by Jamie's masterful storytelling. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation tonight. Also, I understand it's quite a coup to get Jamie here, so enjoy. There will be a conversation together for probably around 40 minutes, with time at the end for questions. Afterward, they'll be signing books at the table over there to the right, and you can purchase books at the registers at the front. So please join me in giving a warm welcome.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you everybody at Rizzoli for making this a really painless process. Honestly, I know you think looking at your work after years in exhibitions is a little bit painful, but making a book about Jamie's artwork is absolutely a joy. And I'm very glad that you were on board with us doing this theme of being unsettled. It's the eerie, the haunting, the unnerving, the distressing, the anxious. You know, a lot of today's topics that come up in your paintings. And so I put together some slides just to help us through our discussion, give us some prompts, but we'll have time for your questions at the end too. Sometimes I know certain pictures have good stories behind them, so I'm hoping to share them with you all. So I want to introduce you, of course, to the book and to the exhibition that accompanies it, and it will be in Pennsylvania, in Maine, in South Carolina, in Ohio, and Seattle, Washington. So hopefully if you have friends all over the country, you can take them. One of the things that drew me to this topic was reading a small passage that you wrote, an introduction for another exhibition catalog, about art colonies on the coast. And you called it The Ghost of Rockwell Kent and Me. And so right away I thought, there's an artist that works with ghosts. And you talked about ghosts and how, I mean, we're not talking about spooky things that live in the attic, unless we are talking about spooky things that live in the attic. I mean, these are the memories, the thoughts, the people you've known, but you never knew Rockwell Kent, right?
I didn't. After my first exhibition here in New York, I had money in my pocket, so I went to, it was a wonderful bookstore. It used to be in Lexington Avenue called Wyeth. And I walked in, I was snooping around, and there was a drawing that looked like it was one of Kent's drawings from Ruby Dick. So I went to Miss Wyeth, and she said, yes, they had an exhibition when the book was published in 1929, it was very cracked. So I said, well, do you have more? And she took me up to the attic, and there were all the chapter pages, so I bought them all with the proceeds of my show. I love the Rockwell Kent.
Yeah, and Rockwell Kent is an artist that has had a rocky history in American art because
He's totally forgotten.
Yeah.
His main thing was that he got involved politically as anybody would pray in the like the 50s. And of course the McCarthy period, he was charged with being a communist, which he wasn't, but as a consequence, all his work was removed from American museums and still to this day.
And where can you find it now? I'm sure you've seen it some of that. I mean,
Well, the largest part of his work done on Mohegan Island, where I live in his house, is in the South Korean Russian, in the Pushkin and various things. And for years, he was the only American painter hired. I just always think we've had a sort of mixed life, but we never knew one another. We corresponded.
Yeah, and you went on to live in a house that he built, and so that's filled with spirits in other ways as well. So just to keep things interesting, I have an old picture and a new picture up here. One of the key things I find very unnerving about some of your paintings is when you paint a figure and don't reveal the face to us. And Sig Harvey photographed you exactly that way.
Yes.
So that is, I thought, well, if another artist has noticed this as well. So this is, Record Player is the earliest piece in the exhibition from 1964. So can you take us back to when this particular work from 1964, where were you working? What were you doing? What would lead to a painting with no face?
It was this wonderful person, Lester Stanley, who I met, who was severely mentally impaired, and he looked like a sort of monk with his hair cut and so forth. So at that point, I shared a studio with my father, and the control of the record player was in my part of the studio, and my father would play the alias rock metal at high volume. I love music, but I can't work with music, so I got wax in my ears. And he taught Lester how to control the control. So Lester would sit in his own position working the dial. So I felt I had to record it.
So
And
that's,
actually, my first show, that was in the window, nervous, looking into the gallery.
well, that makes sense. That would draw people